This episode is brought to you by Baby Ethereus. You may have heard of Ethereus, the Ethereum mining income token, but Baby Ethereus is a hyper-deflationary token on the BSC chain that provides great opportunities and rewards for Ethereus token holders. Baby Ethereus has gone from $300,000 market cap to over 5.7 million in 1 hour. Stake Baby Ethereus and get raffle tickets that enter you to win a 2022 Tesla Model 3. Visit babyaeth.com for more information. Link in the description below.
This my two Satoshis, who need 2 cents when they can get double from stacking Toshis, yeah.
Hola, I'm Shrek with 2Ks, and this is my two Satoshis, brought to you on CBTV. If you don't know, that is Crypto Blood TV here on YouTube. Anyhow, so if you are new to this whole thing, basically, I cover some stories that are crypto related and some things that are not crypto related. And then I kind of give context to how it connects to my head on things. All right. So jumping into this first story, right? First one is on CNN Plus to shut down 1 month after launch. Now, I don't have cable, but these are some of the things I do pay attention to for what I've seen happening in mainstream news and how the different channels and their owner parent companies are trying to find newer revenue models. And so this is one of the things that CNN was pushed to do because they are a company under Warner Media, which apparently Warner Media was owned by, where is it at? It's owned by another company, which I did not know. Oh, Warner Media got separated from, I think it was AT&T, and so everything that is connected to Warner Media as a platform or bigger, or the house of brands, went to the Discovery Channel, who also has another set of channels that they do within the mainstream, like cable news network stuff and cable channel shows, right? And so it's interesting that CNN tried this, and one of the things they did, they got like 2 anchors. Somebody was from ABC, and then I think somebody was from Fox, and I don't remember the name of the people at all, honestly. Again, I don't actually watch cable. Everything I do now is streamed, and then I definitely don't pay for stuff like this. This is not what I would pay for at all. The reason why I bring this up is because all of this seemed to happen like in the same week of where the merger deal finally closed between Warner Media and Discovery, which now is like Warner, what is it? Warner something Discovery. And apparently it was like a couple of million, 100 million in cost of the merger, whatever. But at the end of the day, a number of people also lost their jobs. And so like head honcho people are swapping around into different, companies and departments. And this is what I wanted to jump into real quick. All of this happened in like the same week. Netflix went down in price. CNN Plus is, shown to be crap. Apparently Obama's contract got denied, which I didn't even know that part happened. And then the Disney panicking with tax liability in Florida. I'm going to jump into that in this one other story later on. But the point of where I'm going to is that mainstream news platforms are trying to figure out new revenue models. And the reason why this particular situation did not play out for CNN was because they didn't have enough subscribers. And basically the parent company was like, hey, the numbers don't look like the way we need them to look as far as the subscriptions coming in. And so Discovery was like, yeah, we're not even going to continue running with this program. And it's probably going to be a tax write-off dead ass for like what they do with how much they lost, which is also interesting because AT&T as the parent company ended up using the money that they got from Discovery to deal with paying off some debt thing that they had. But whatever, the point being is that we're going to start seeing a change in news platforms going forward when they start swapping hands, or they start realizing that certain endeavors that they're trying to do with the subscription model isn't working because people aren't finding the news content they make to be as valuable as independent news sources that are not connected to mainstream companies and platforms, and also not connected to Wall Street. Just saying, something to be aware of going forward. Now, jumping into another story, which is related to the Florida thing. So Uh, if you haven't noticed it at this point, I tend to look over Zero Hedge a fair amount when it comes to finding like those non-popular stories, or the stories that kind of fly under the radar, but do have some level of significance. Now, I don't know where you live. I don't know, what's going on in your life. But if you're in Florida, if you're in a particular area where Disney is in Florida, this is going to be something that relates to you. Why? Because Disney's going to have to figure out how to deal with an actual open competitive market for what they do as a theme park. And I'm specifically talking about Disneyland in Florida. I don't know what's going to happen, or if this in any way relates to how things worked out for their theme park in, I think, California. But as it relates to this, basically what happened is back in the day, 50 some years ago, Walt Disney was able to work out some deal with the state legislation that they were able to have certain incentives. They were able to get this thing called Reed Creek, the Reed Creek District. And the basic idea was that the special district called Reedy Creek was established in '67 that allows Disney Corporation to function with no local government oversight as its San Francisco-sized property outside Orlando. Like, so that reference right there means basically they could do whatever they pretty much wanted within the borderlines of what was considered Reedy Creek, which is the area that they have their jurisdiction over. So they could do things like bonds, they could build up buildings that they want, and they didn't have to listen to the county or the state government. So arguably, Disney was able to work this deal out with his lawyers and the people back in the day, right? And so now you have it that the regulators who were cool with this X amount of years and decades back are now like, well, we don't know if this is really conducive to the open market, and it's not fair to the competitors. But it's like, wait a minute, y'all been eating off of this hog for decades. Now all of a sudden you got an issue? What's going on right now? And basically, like, so as far as the GOP side of the house, these are arguably the people who, or that party, were the ones who brought this deal in back in the day before they was calling them GOP. So like, we're talking about the Republicans and stuff like that. And now it turns out that they don't have the same social wokeness alignment. So it seems that things are going where they're going to take the status away from Disney, and then they're going to have to start listening to the county policymakers and stuff as far as like how they're operating that space. Now, there's two things that happen in this. One is the thing about bonds and how they're conducting like land procurement and how they're doing the development. And then there's another part in relation to the social media side of it, and them being able to like shadow ban or cut off political speech from politicians. We're not talking about the everyday regular folk. This is about politicians, not the everyday regular folk. And yeah, like, this doesn't look good in their favor as far as like, hey, them having that monopoly and them seeing it the way they want versus them being open to regular competitive natures, as well as, just, hey, if you have more competition, doesn't that mean you have better options as a consumer, as a retail person, as the everyday me and you person? We have better price options and better, who's offering the better thing. That's not what's happening with how this deal was working out. Now, the interesting part to me, and I'm gonna jump into this next story, shout outs to Samson on this one, because it was a post that he did that caught my attention that got me to this part. The dangling of Disney in the headlines is like, oh, this isn't fair to free market, and this isn't fair to open market, and this isn't fair to private sector capitalism. But what also was going on is this. There is a redrawing of the jurisdiction voting map in Florida. And the vote that was going on for revoking Reedy Creek's specific destination, there was a vote that was happening in relation to going on with Walt Disney, but the attention was not given to what was actually going on in the House of Representatives for Florida and them voting on a number of things related to the redrawing of the map, which apparently 2 of the districts in Florida would lose their lines of how they were drawn. So it was affecting minority, predominantly Black voting districts. That didn't make it into the mainstream news for whatever reason. But nonetheless, the Walt Disney thing is happening, but there's, I think, arguably a more important thing going on here with the voting situation. And so you'll be able to see the link for this, and you can follow up if you want to. Again, if you're in Florida, I think these are things that might or should be on your radar. And I'm jumping into this last story. And the last story is going to be a crypto story. So I've been saying it for the last couple of weeks, more so a couple of months, maybe 2 or so months. For the stories that are coming out about the hacks and the exploits and smart contracts and DAOs and DeFi platforms and even, traditional kind of tech companies or non-tech companies, some of it's not sitting right with me. I feel like there's some kind of collusion. Let me not say collusion. The way that things are being discovered, and then the executions of these exploits and these hacks don't necessarily make apparent front end sense. Case in point with this story right here, where hacker self-destructs $1 million in loot gained from DeFi exploit. Now, this is not actually a hack. They basically found a function that worked in the smart contract to be able to make extra tokens, and so they used it to make the extra tokens, and then they dumped the price, and then they walked away with X amount of money. The funky part of what they did was they put it into another contract protocol, which, where's the line at? It's called an attack contract, which basically self-destructs the contract holding the funds. So it would arguably be like if I took $100 bill and then just burned it in front of you. That's what this person did on a smart contract digital sense. Again, some of the things that are happening, when you look at them individually, they don't make any type of sense, but I would argue there's a bigger play going on. And unless you're in certain circles or you're paying attention to enough of the different moving parts and pieces, it doesn't have context. And I honestly think that this right here is a part of something else bigger. What is it going to end up being? I don't know, but it happened to catch my attention when I saw the article on Crypto Slate. And again, the article link will be in the description on this. So I'm gonna say it. If I'm talking on my ass, if I don't know what I'm saying, or you have a total different view from me, I would definitely appreciate if you left something in the comments. And then, we can have a back and forth on discourse about that. As well as if you do like what I'm saying, it would be great if you liked it and if you shared the video with other folks. And so, yeah, just throwing things out there for other people to be aware of. Again, I don't know what's going on in your life. I just know that there's certain things that I pay attention to that I think other people would be interested in if they knew it was being talked about. This is another one of those examples of, I think the way hacking is being pushed out into the forefront, we get like the top surface bit of the information, but it's not put in proper context as far as like, what is the bigger issue here? Or what is the bigger thing behind it? Whether it be an agenda or some kind of motivation, I don't know. But I'm just saying this is going on more and more where the individual actions don't make apparent sense, but it doesn't mean it's not connected to something bigger. Other than that, I'm closing it out on this last story here, being a crypto story. As I've said, I am Trek with 2 Ks, and this is My 2 Satoshis, brought to you on CBTV. So until the next one, y'all, hey, pay attention, check in, and that's it. 1.